Hello and welcome once again to the International Soccer Preview by Soccer Files Canada. I'm Kevin.
I'm Connor.
And I'm Kira.
Right, and today we'll be looking at the players of Senegal. So we'll be dividing these up by positions and kind of predicting their likelihood. And then Connor and I will kind of give a little bio, especially of the main players. And then Kiera is here to tell us whether they actually made it to the squad or not. So anything to talk about before we begin, you guys?
No, let's get started.
Okay, well, we're going to get started by looking at the formation that they've taken over the last 6 games. Those are the 6 games of World Cup qualifying, actually. And we'll see it's pretty consistent with Senegal. Basically, a 4-2-3-1 in their first 5 games. So that's 4 defenders, 2 defensive midfielders, 3 more attacking midfielders, and 1 forward. And in game 6 against Togo, after they were already assured passage and changed the team up a bit, it was a 4-4-2. Okay, so let's begin with the manager, Aliou Cisse. What can you tell us about him, Connor?
Yeah, so he's been their captain their coach since 2015. Previously, he was captain of the Senegal team as a player, including captaining them in the World Cup of 2002, which Senegal had an incredible run to the quarterfinals there. But yeah, he's been the manager for the past 6 years, and was, of course, in charge when Senegal reached the final of the 2019 African Cup.
That's right. I don't have anything to add, really. He was involved in those 3 cups, probably some before the African 2002 Cup. I don't know how far back my African Cup goes, but yeah, definitely a staple there around the turn of the century. Okay, well, let's move on to goalkeepers, and we have several candidates here. What we're going to do is kind of give a bio of the ones that seem likely, and then just name the ones who are less likely. So we start with Edward Mende, who we've categorized as a definite, and maybe we'll change that to a confident. He's played 6 of their 10 games in 2021, and he was on the bench for the last of those and not selected for the first 3 matches. That might be because he was in England.
Yeah, he plays in England currently and is a starting goalkeeper for Chelsea. So that alone kind of makes him certain to be part of the squad. He's been with Chelsea since 2020, having started his career in France. He moved to Chelsea from Rennes in France, and was Reims before that. So yeah, regular starter for Chelsea, someone we certainly expect to see and likely start in the tournament for Senegal.
Yeah, he's been with the team since 2018, but quickly became a starter and started the African Cup in 2019. However, he broke a finger in the warm-up for Game 3 and then was replaced. But he's fit for this tournament, so we expect to see him as the starter. Next is Seniang, who we consider likely. He only played 1 of their 10 games in 2021, but he was on the bench for 7 of those, but not selected for the last 2 matches. So a bit of a concern there.
Yeah, he only has 1 cap for the national team, having only joined them in earlier this year, 2021. He currently plays and is a starter for Queen's Park Rangers in England, where he's been actually for the past 5 years.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, and then we have 3 candidates we've classified as unlikely. So first one is Alfred Gomez. He actually was the keeper who replaced the injured Edouard Mendy in 2019. But he's only played 2 of their 10 games in 2021. But he was on the bench for 6 of those and not selected for the first 2. So I'm actually going to move him up to likely here, and maybe we should talk a little bit about him. I don't know why I classified him as possible but unlikely.
Yeah, he currently plays for Rennes in France. So actually the team that Edouard Mendy moved to Chelsea from. And has spent a bit of time in both France and Italy prior to that. He's been with the team since 2017 and has 12 caps in that time. And as you said, on the bench more often than not for their games in 2021.
Yeah, not seeing a lot of action, but he was also the backup keeper in the 2018 World Cup. So, yeah, I would put him down as likely. Now, we do have a couple of more names, and these are kind of unlikely. Pape Ndiaye played none of their 10 games in 2021. He was on the bench for 2 of those and not selected for 8 of them, including the last 7. So, seems to be off the squad. And we'll just go with names for the time being, Connor. Binguru Kamara also played just the first of their 10 games in 2021 and was on the bench for the second and not selected for the last 8. So we will go over their biographies if it turns out that they're chosen. Are we ready, Kiera?
Well, you're starting strong with your predictions of the 3 goalkeepers. It is Edouard Mendy, Sunny Dieng, and Alfred Gomez.
All right. Okay, well, great. And let's move on to defenders. We sometimes have general or versatile defenders, but not for Senegal. So we'll go straight to central defenders, starting with Kalidou Koulibaly. Now, I'll just say he had played 9 of their 10 games in 2021. He hadn't been selected for the first of those, but he was listed as injured when I checked in December, and but he was expected back in early January. So they will really hope for him, especially after you hear the biography from Connor.
Yeah, a real anchor in their defense. The giant defender plays with Napoli in Italy, where he's been since 2014, moving there from Genk in Belgium. He's been with the team since 2015 and has amassed 53 caps in that time. The 30-year-old has attracted attention from a lot of other European clubs, but remains at Napoli, of course, a big club in itself. And yeah, certainly would be a huge loss for Senegal if he wasn't there, but luckily for them, it looks like he should be recovered in time.
Right. Even though he started in 2015, he didn't participate in the African Cup there, which was in January, so maybe joined later in the year. But he's been a starter for all of the tournaments since, including the 2018 World Cup. So no doubt if he's available that he would be chosen. And next, who we've classified as likely is Pape Abou Cisse. And he had played the last of their 2 games in 2021. The last 2 of their 10 games. But he was on the bench for 6 of those and not selected for 2.
Yeah, he only has 6 caps for his country since joining in 2018. He currently plays with Olympiacos in Greece, where he's been since 2017, though has had a loan spell to Saint Etienne in France in that time.
Right. And in 2019, he was on the roster, but he didn't see any action. He was on the bench. And that might be the case here, too. He seems more of a bench player, but one likely to be on the squad. Moving on to Abdullah Zack. And he had played 3, the first 2 and the last 1 of their 10 games in 2021, but he was on the bench for all 7 others.
Yeah, he's only has 5 caps for the team, but you mentioned some bench appearances as well. He's been with the team since 2013, so not a lot of caps given the length of time he's been there.
Mm-hmm.
And currently he plays with Royal Antwerp in Belgium.
Right. He must have been absent and then come back to the team because he hasn't appeared in any tournaments until now. And yet he seems to be consistently chosen, at least for the bench here. All right. Well, in the category of possible is Abdu Diallo, including his first cap in March. He played 7 of their remaining 10 games, so played all 7. No, he played 7 and was not selected for 3 others, including the last 2, which maybe moved him down a notch there.
All right. Actually, could you just start describing him, and I'll maybe chime in?
Oh, yeah. Well, he's new to the squad in 2021. Those 7 games are his only 7 caps. And he's with Paris Saint-Germain in France since 2019. Born in France, actually.
Yeah, he's only 25 years old, so relatively young on that team. But yeah, attached to a big club. So even if he's just possible here, he's probably someone that Senegal may have in their plans going forward.
Yeah, do you think I should move him up a notch? He looks more likely to be a starter than the other 2 there.
I think it's likely that we'll see him, not just because he's with PSG, but he has 7 caps, since starting with 2021. So it seems like he's come more and more into the picture.
Yeah, I'm going to move him up to likely then, and even ahead of the other 2 who seem to be substitutes. Okay, and then last, also in the possible category, or in the possible category, is Ousseynou Ba. And he had played only the first of their 10 games in 2021, but he was out with 2 separate injuries for 4 games, on the bench for the second match, and not selected for 4 others, including the last 2. So yeah, those the category of possible a bit better.
Those injuries may be the reason he only has 2 caps since starting with the team in 2020. Like Pape Abdou Cisse, he also plays in Greece with Olympiacos.
Yeah, I think that's not the big Olympiacos, but Olympiacos Piraeus.
Yeah, I understand they're the same.
Oh, okay. My mistake then. Okay. And let's finish just by mentioning Salif Sane. He seems to be off the team because he hasn't played since November 2020. He was a starter in 2018 and started 2019 too, but he subbed out injured out of game 1. 23 minutes in, and then appeared only as a substitute in games 5 and 6. So do you want to say more about him, or maybe wait and see if he appears?
Yeah, I'll just mention he's 31 years old, so it's not kind of aging out, and he does have 38 caps for them, but as you mentioned, not being involved recently. So yeah, does seem to be off the squad, but I guess we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. And we'll see right now. Over to Kiera.
Okay. Well, Kalidou Koulibaly, they must be hoping he'll be recovered because he is indeed on the team.
Okay.
As are your 3 likely choices. So Pape Abdou Cisse is on the squad.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Abdullah Zack and Abdu Diallo.
Okay, so it's good that we moved him up there. And then the others are
others are not.
Okay, well, let's move on then to left backs. And we only have 2 to consider here. The first one we consider likely, but since he's one of just 2, he may be even higher. Playing 7 of their 10 games in 21 and not selected for the first 3 matches is Salif Sane.
Yeah, one of many on the team who plays in France. He plays with Nancy in France. He has 29 caps to his name. He's been with the team since 2012. So, being around and, as you mentioned, playing 7 of their last 10 games, I think certainly a likely candidate to be with the team and even perhaps starter in the tournament.
Yeah, he hasn't been a starter. You say he came to the team in 2012, but his first tournament was 2017, and he only started a B team game there. and also just was a sub in 2019 too. So he seems to have slowly worked his way into the squad. He was selected for the 2018 World Cup, but got injured in training, so was replaced. So hasn't really found his way into the squad, but 7 of their 10 games in 2021 suggest that's changed. And there's not a lot of competition for his spot either, because the only other candidate we have is Fode Ballo-Touré, and he earned his first cap in March 2021, but went on to play 8 of their remaining 10 games. Not selected, though, for the last 2 matches.
Yeah, and he's been around some big clubs. He was with the PSG youth system, and then later played with Lille, Monaco, and currently AC Milan. So some pretty big pedigree with the clubs he's at.
Right. He's never played in an international tournament, of course. He just joined in 2021. Now, given that both of these guys played most of the games in 2021, it seems like at least one of them is playing out of position. So something to consider there. Let's move on to right backs. And we start with the likely Ibrahima Mbaye. And he played 2 of their games in 2021, but he was on the bench for 5, including the last 4 of those.
Yeah, the right back is with Bologna in Italy, and he's been with them a long time, since 2015. He's made his first appearance for the Senegal national team in 2016, but only has 5 caps to his name since then.
Yeah, and actually he hasn't made it onto a national squad yet. He was selected for the preliminary squad in 2015 and didn't make the final squad. He wasn't considered at all in 2017 or in 2019. I suppose that's true for 2018 too. So really having trouble getting onto the squad here. And yet we consider him likely for this tournament. Next one is Bunasar, who we also consider likely, including his first cap in October. He played all 4 of their remaining games in 2021.
Yeah, only made his first cap recently, but he is 29 years old, and he's currently with Bayern Munich in Germany. I don't think he's a starter for them, but still something to be attached to such a big club.
Yeah, that's right. And like many Senegalese, he was born in France. Okay, I'm kind of looking for a reason why he started games. I think the reason is some players have left the team, starting with El Hadji Baldi. And we consider him possible but unlikely. He played only in local tournaments and friendlies, and then was absent for 2 years until he returned in September to play 2 of their remaining 6 games. So there seems to be a bit of a story forming up here, but we'll just introduce a couple of names. Lamine Gassama, also possible but unlikely. Played 2 of their 10 games, but not selected for 8 others, including the last 6. Yusuf Sabali last appeared for the team in November 2020, and then Musa Wag also last appeared for the team in 2020. So do you see any pattern there, or Connor?
Not really, other than what you've already mentioned. Musa Wag is with Barcelona in Spain. He's had a couple loan spells. He's a young player, born in 1998, so really not that old. 21 caps, so a good amount of appearances for the team despite his young age. But as you mentioned, he last appeared for the national team in November 2020, so not sure if we'll see him here.
Yeah, a bit of an odd story there. He is 23 years old. In both 2018 World Cup and 2019 World Cup, he was the starter for the first couple of games and then lost his starting position there. Anyway, I think maybe we should go to find out who it is that has made the team.
So for both left backs and right backs, 2 players were chosen for each. So with only 2 left backs being kind of presented here, they're both on the squad. So Salif Sane and Fode Ballo-Touré are on the team.
Right,
for left
okay.
backs. And balanced out with 2 right backs. And those are Ibrahima Mbaye and Bouna Sarr.
Okay, the ones we considered likely. So, yeah, it looks like they're moving new players into this position and a couple of players moving out. Okay, well, for midfield, we do have a couple of guys who are kind of general or roving midfielders, or I call them versatile midfielders. And the first one is Abdu Diallo. And we consider him definite because he's played 8 of their 10 games in 2021 and was on the bench for 1 other and not selected for one. He even scored a goal in qualifying here.
Yeah, he was once of Stoke City in England, though he did have a couple of loan spells during that time to a team in Saudi Arabia and 2 teams in Turkey. And currently he plays with Aris Thessalonica in Greece. He has 32 caps and 2 goals for them since joining the team in 2015.
Right. In 2017, he was actually selected for the preliminary squad in 2015, but didn't make the final cut. And he started game 1 in 2017, but then lost his starting position there and was just a sub in the 2018 World Cup, just for 1 game, and came in for 9 minutes. But he was a starter in 2019, started all 7 games there. So he seems well established now. Okay, the other versatile midfielder is Henry Henri Savet, but he hasn't played for the team since the 2019 African Cup, so we consider him off the team, basically. Anything you want to say about him, Connor?
He did have a spell with Newcastle in England, but that did involve 3 different loan spells to clubs in Turkey as well as Saint Etienne in France.
Yeah, and the truth is he never fully made it onto the squad. He was a sub in 2015, 17 and 19, but wasn't selected for the 2018 World Cup, so never seemed to kind of make it on. Sorry about that, Kiera. We actually forgot to go to you after left defenders. Should we go to you now and see which of these 2 made it?
Sure. Well, as you predicted, Henri Savet is not on the team. Does seem to be off the squad. But surprisingly, Abdu Diallo also was not selected to be on the team.
Well, I wonder what's going on there. That's something we'll have to look into because, wow, we have him classed as a definite. I'm going to actually code him in red for those looking on the YouTube version of this. Okay, so maybe he's injured, but somebody who is a known injury risk is Nampalys Mende, defensive midfielder. His first cap was in March, but he played 8 of their remaining games in 2021, but was injured for 2 matches and listed as injured in December 2021 with an unknown return date. So tell us a bit about him, Connor, because we do have him as definite if he is healthy.
Yeah, we'll have to see. He currently plays with Leicester in England and has since 2016, which perhaps makes it surprising. He only made his debut for the Senegal team earlier this year. He's 29 years old, so he's been around a little while, but as you said, seems to become a regular for them since making his debut in March.
Yeah, have you seen him on the field for Leicester?
Not very often this season. I know Leicester have had a lot of injuries and COVID cases, but no, I don't recall seeing him that often this season.
Yeah, I'm a bit embarrassed because he's not really a familiar name to me. He was loaned out to Nice there, but okay. Well, next one is just in the possible category, and it's Pape Gaye, including his first appearance on the bench in November. He just played one of the remaining 2 games, so brand new to the squad. He was on the bench for the other game too.
Yeah, just 22 years old, so that might explain why he's quite new. He's currently with Marseille in France.
Right, okay. And we'll just mention the name of Sidi Sarr, but we consider him kind of off the squad now. He's never actually played in a tournament and last appeared for the team in November 2020. I'm not sure why I have him here. He got one of their goals in qualifying. Maybe that's the reason why. So, well, not a lot of choices there. Kiera, have any of these ones made it?
Yes, this is actually quite an interesting group of players that have been selected. So Napoli's Mende is on the team. So hopefully that means he will be fit to play. And Pape Gaye also on the team. As is Sidi Sarr.
Oh, really? Okay, yeah. Well, maybe did we introduce him, Connor?
I'll talk a little bit more about him now that he is on the team. He made his first appearance in 2018, but only has 6 caps since. And he currently plays with Nimes in France. But yeah, only the 6 caps in those kind of 4 years is why we thought that he perhaps wouldn't be on the team or is off the team.
And actually, sorry, I am going to interrupt you because that was my mistake. He actually, is not on the team. So
okay.
There you go. Keeping us all on our toes here. But there is a third player. This is maybe why I was all over the place, because they are bringing 3 defensive midfields, but it is not Sidi Sarr. Let me just confirm here. It's actually a player that was mentioned. Yeah, it is Mamadou Loum Ndiaye.
Oh, okay. Well, we might have to look into him a little bit. Maybe, Kiera, if you want to look into him and come back with a little information later.
Yes, I can do that.
All right, great. Let's move on to central midfielders then. And we'll begin with Adrisa Gaye. We consider him definite. He's a great player. We know him. I was going to say we know him personally. I just mean we know him by having seen him. He played 8 of their 10 games in 2021 and was not selected for the other 2. Again, that may be difficulty coming back from abroad during COVID. Tell us about him, Connor.
Yeah, we're most familiar with him watching him play with Aston Villa in England and then Everton for an even longer spell. Currently, he plays with Paris Saint-Germain and is a regular for the mighty PSG. So, yeah, somebody we certainly expect to see and to be a starter for them.
Yeah, and he's been a starter since 2015, playing in all the tournaments, including the World Cup. He was named to the team at the tournament in 2019, and I think he's been a great player for them over the years. So no doubt that he'll be on the team as long as he's fit. All right, we'll move to Cheikhou Kouyaté, who we also consider a definite candidate. He played 8 of their 10 games in 2021, was on the bench for the last one, and just not selected for one of those.
Yeah, he's a player I really like. Another one plays in England. With West Ham was where he came to England from Anderlecht. But since 2018, he's been with Crystal Palace. He's a really great box-to-box midfielder. Since making his debut with Senegal in 2012, he has 73 caps and 3 goals for them. And in fact, was their captain at the 2019 African Cup.
Yeah, and before too. So he's been with the team through all the tournaments in 2015, 17, and 19, as well as the 2018 World Cup. Although he was just subbed into the 2018 World Cup and also subbed into the 2019 African Cup, but gained a starting position after game 1. Okay, well, let's move on to the likely candidate, which is Pape Matarsar. And including his first cap in March, he played 4 of their remaining 10 games in 2021 and was on the bench for 6 others.
Yeah, currently he plays, or he is with Tottenham in England. I don't think he's made many appearances for them. He's a young player, just 19 years old. And he first made his appearance with Senegal in 2021 and has 4 caps in that time.
Yeah, I don't recognize him as a familiar name for Tottenham, but maybe in the on the bench there. Okay, let's go with a couple of likely candidates, and because we have a lot, maybe Connor, should we just mention the names of these? And then if they come into play, we'll go back and detail them. Is that okay?
That sounds good.
Okay, Joseph Lopi and Mustafa Name, we've categorized as possible. And then Pape Diop and Frank Konate, we've categorized as possible, but unlikely. So let's hear from Kiera and see if we should go over some of those guys.
Mm-hmm. Well, there are 5 central midfielders on the team, so there are a few you'll have to give us some information on. So on the team is Adrisa Gaye, Cheku Kuyate. Try to pronounce his name as best I can. So your 2 definites are on the team, as well as your likely choice. So Pape Matarsar.
Okay.
And then the last 2 are the 2 you marked as possible. So Joseph Lopi and Mustafa Name.
All right. Well, Pape Sarr, we saw as the Tottenham player who's fairly new to the squad. Let's take a look at Joseph Lopi, Connor.
And I should mention that Pape Matarsar is on loan with Met, so that's why
maybe that's why we haven't seen him then.
Yeah, Joseph Lopi, he only has 5 caps for the team. He currently plays with Sochaux in France.
Yeah, he played 4 of their 10 games in 2021 and was on the bench for 2. The reason I had him as just possible was that he wasn't selected for the last 4 matches there, but looks like he made it anyway. How about Mustafa Name?
Like Lopi, has just 5 caps to his name. He plays in Paris, but not with PSG, but for second-tier Paris FC, where he's been since 2020.
All right. And he also played 4 of their 10 games in 2021, but he was coming on as a sub and amassed a total of 27 minutes in those 4 games. But he was on the bench for 3 others. 3 others. So, yeah, they were kind of in and around. And there they are, having made the team. Good for them. Let's take a look at, left midfielders, we don't have any candidates. That just means that we don't have any players kind of coded as left midfielders, but some of these central midfielders could come across, or when we look at wingers, they could come back. And for right midfielders, we just have one, Krapin Diatta, we considered him a definite. However, there's an injury doubt with him. So he played 8 of their 10 games in 2021, injured for 1 and not selected for 1. But in December 2021, I saw he was injured with a cruciate ligament rupture and an unknown return date. So that sounds like a bit of a serious injury, Connor.
Yeah, if it's a cruciate ligament, there's no way he'll be back for this tournament. Unknown return date, you're looking at several months out, which is a real shame. He won the best young player of the African Cup in 2019, so a real promising, exciting player. He currently plays with Monaco in France, having moved there from Club Bruges. He's just 22 years old, but already has 24 caps to his name, along with 2 goals. So, yeah, with that injury, it's almost certain he'll be out, which is a real shame for Senegal.
Yeah, a lot of things in his favor. That's a lot of caps since 2019. I remember him as scoring a great goal against Tanzania in the first game of the African Cup there, a thunderous blast from outside the box. So it'll be a shame if he's not available. And well, let's find out right now, Kiera.
Unfortunately, Crepin Diatta is not on the squad, so that injury is keeping him away.
Well, that's a bit of a loss for Senegal, to be sure, but they are a team with enough talent to cover it. And we're going to look at one of those most talented, maybe my favorite player in soccer, Connor, Sadio Mane. I'm so excited, I can't even say his name properly.
Yeah, I mean, he is such an exciting player. Kind of the other side of the dynamic duo with Liverpool, opposite Mo Salah, who we'll see with Egypt, of course. He's been with Liverpool since 2016, having moved there from Southampton, where he also shone, and previously was with Red Bull Salzburg. He has 80 caps in about 10 years with the Senegal national team and 26 goals. So as he is with Liverpool, a constant goal threat. And yeah, one of the players who will lead the line and hopefully carry Senegal deep into the tournament.
Yeah, well, we could wax on about him endlessly, but he's pretty much a constant on the team if he's available. So he's missed a couple of matches in tournaments due to injury, but he's often kind of man of the match or named to the team of the tournament or what have you. So we'll just leave it at that for now, but they'll certainly hope that he will go. I think the only threat there is some of these clubs, some of these bigger clubs, I think, don't like the African Cup because, of course, players like Mane are taken away from the club. Do you have any comments on that?
Yeah, it may be frustrating, but there's not much they can do. I mean, FIFA rules mean you kind of have to release players, and that'll be the case. I mean, for Liverpool, losing Mane and Salah is big, but on the other hand, it's great to see them shine for their national teams as well.
Yeah,
so I expect he'll be there.
Yeah, as you say, I don't think a club can prevent them from going. Let's move on to the obviously less likely than Mane, but nevertheless, we've categorized him as likely, so maybe he's in a different position. Keita Baldi, he's played 6 of their 10 games in 2021, but he was out with tonsillitis for the last 2 of those. I imagine he's probably recovered from that now and not selected for 2 others.
Yeah, having played 6 games they obviously try and find a way to put him and Mane into the same team when they can, by the looks of it.
Yeah.
He currently plays with Cagliari in Italy, having moved there in 2021 from Monaco. And he has 36 caps and 6 goals for the national team, who he's been with since 2016.
Right, okay, and he was there in the 2017 African Cup as a starter, but only was a sub in the 2018 World Cup and kind of a sometime starter in 2019. Okay, well, the possible but unlikely candidate is Mame Baba Thiam. And maybe just a quick introduction there, Connor?
Yeah, he has 3 caps for the team, so not that many. And he plays with Kayserispor in Turkey, having moved there in 2021.
Okay. Do you want to take us through it, Kiara, and see how these guys did?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Sadio Mane, unsurprisingly, is on the team, as is Keita Baldi. And Mame Baba Thiam also is on the team. So all 3 of the left wingers were selected.
Great. Well, it's a good thing we did give details on him, as it turns out. Okay, let's go over to right wingers then, and Ismail Assar. We have him as a definite because he played 8 of their 10 games in 2021, and the only ones he missed were the first 2 matches. So he's played the last 8 games.
Yeah, he's a really exciting player for them. He plays with Watford in England, that's since 2019. So seeing them in the Premier League, the Championship, and back in the Premier League. But he's kind of one of their star players and main goal scorers. With Senegal, he has 40 caps and 9 goals as well. He's a younger player, just 23 years of age. So yeah, a good number of caps at his young age, and a good number of goals as well. He is a threat and a good kind of character foil to Mane on the other side.
Yeah, I like him a lot. He, in the 2017 African Cup, just started game 3, a B team game. But by the 2018 World Cup, he started and finished all of their games. In 2019, he started and finished 4 of their 7 games. So not necessarily a guaranteed starter, but he's come along. Seems a very good player. Okay, well, in the possible category, we have Abdallah Sima, and he had his first cap in March and then played 4 of their remaining 10 games in 2021, but he wasn't selected for 6 games, including the last 4.
Yeah, he's with Brighton in England, but has spent this season on loan at Stoke City in the English Championship.
Okay, and then the other ones we'll just mention, possible but unlikely, is Mamadou Fall and Sada Thioub. And then seems to be off the squad is Opa Ngete. Last appeared for the squad in November 2020, but he had scored 1 goal in qualifying. So before going into detail on those guys, let's find out who actually made it.
So somewhat imbalanced with the 3 left wingers, just 1 right winger was selected for the squad, and that is Ismail Assar.
Ooh, so none of them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I did rustle up some information on our surprise defensive midfield, if you wanted me to talk about that before we move on to forwards or later on.
No, we might as well go back and do it. What do you say, Connor?
Yeah, let's hear about it now as we finish up talking about midfielders.
Yeah, so that was, once again, Mamadou Loum Ndiaye, who is 25 years old and been with the squad since 2019. He has 2 caps for the team. Plays his club soccer with Porto in Portugal. Been there since 2019, although he was loaned to Alaves in Spain for the 2021 season. In the 2021 African Cup, he hadn't played any of their games, but was on the bench for 6 games and not selected for 4 others.
Oh, okay. And you're talking about qualifying games there?
Yeah, qualifying.
Or actually, yeah, they're 10 games in 2021. Okay, so yeah. He kind of was around, maybe should have made my list, but maybe because he didn't get on the field is the reason he didn't. Now, interestingly, we don't have any players coded as attacking midfielders or secondary strikers. That could be because if you think of Sadio Mane, the wingers pretty much cover that role. So we're going to move right to forwards on the forward line, starting with Famera Ditiu. Do you know how to say his name, Connor?
Yeah, Diju.
Diju. Okay, well, he played 7 of their 10 games in 2021 and was on the bench for 3 others, so we've coded him as definite.
Yeah, despite playing for rivals of my beloved Cardiff City, that was Bristol City, for 4 years from 2017 to 2021. I really like him. He's a really great player, a real handful. He's 6'4", so a real presence up front. Had a very good goal scoring record with Bristol City. Earlier in 2021, he moved to Turkey to Alanyaspor. But he has a good goal scoring record for the national team as well. He has 9 goals and 18 caps, so a goal every other game. He first appeared for Senegal in 2014, so not a lot of caps in that time. But as you said, he seems to have been more of a regular in 2021.
Yeah, not a lot of caps and not a lot of tournaments. He was on the squad in 2017, but just as a bench player. He only came on for the B team game in game 3 and has struggled to make it onto the squad since. He didn't make it onto the World Cup 2018 squad, and I believe there was no preliminary squad in 2018. There was in 2019, but he didn't make it onto that. So he seems to have been fairly out of consideration during that period. But seems to be on the team now. Boulaye Dia, you can correct me there, maybe, Connor, has played 6 of their games in 10 games in 2021. Not selected for 4 others, though, including the last 2.
Yeah, he spent most of his career in France, where he was born, but since 2021, he's moved to Villarreal in Spain. He started with the team in 2020 and has 9 caps and 1 goal in that time.
Right. Well, that's a big move. I coded him as possible, but would you put him as likely given what you see there?
I think likely. Yeah, having played 6 of their 10 games the past year as well, I think it's likely that we'll see him.
Yeah, and Villarreal's a pretty big squad too, so that's a move up, I would say. Habib Diallo, we have as possible. Played 4 of their 10 games in 2021, on the bench for 2 of those. And it was only the first 4 matches that he wasn't selected for. So he was on the squad for 6 games, scored 1 of their 10 goals in qualifying too.
Yeah, and he plays with Strasbourg in France. 2 goals and 10 caps for Habib Diallo.
All right, we'll keep him as possible for the time being. Last one we'll give in detail is Bamba Dieng. So first cap was in October, but he did play all 4 of their remaining games.
Yeah, he is a newcomer to the squad, but may have worked his way in. Those 4 games are his only 4 caps. He's just 21 years old, but plays for Marseille, so a pretty big team in France.
Right, and possible but not likely, we won't go into detail, is Mbai Diangni, not dead sure how to say it. And we also have Musa Konate, who we think seems to be off the squad. He hasn't played since the 2019 African Cup. Alfred Ndai is a name I'm familiar with. Been around for a long time, but hasn't played since the 2019 African Cup. Mbe Niang also hasn't played since 2019, though he played a game in November. He was a starter in the 2018 World Cup and in the 2019 African Cup. So none of those guys seem to be around anymore. Oh, we have a lot to deal with. Do you want to comment on any of those, Connor?
We'll see if they made the squad, some of those players, but maybe I'll turn it over to Kira.
So 4 players were selected as forwards. Famara Diju, Boulaye Dia, Habib Diallo, and Bamba Dieng.
So those were the players we had as definite, likely, or possible. All four of those make the team.
Yeah, that's right. And sad to see some of those familiar names no longer on the squad. And that brings us to the end. So we're going to do a quick review of those players. But any comments generally on the squad before we do that, Connor?
I really like the look of the Senegal squad. It's very strong, but it's also very well balanced with, some exceptional players in different positions. I mean, some of the key players, you have Edouard Mende in goal, Kalidou Koulibaly anchoring the defense, Adrisa Gaye doing the same in midfield, and then some of those attacking players, Sadio Mane, Ismaila Sarr, and Famara Diédhiou in particular. So good players in all positions, well balanced. Definitely one of the strongest squads, I think, in the tournament.
Yeah, and not a lot different from the squad that looks so powerful in the 2019 African Cup. Having finished second there, they may be that much more motivated to win it all here. We're going to go through the squad again and at least touch on the main players, or the ones who we think will probably start. Not that I'm dead sure, but we won't mention all of the players. Manager, of course, Aliou Cisse is going to remain in charge. Edouard Mendy for the goalkeeper, Connor?
Yeah, I don't see anyone else taking the gloves away from him.
Yeah, pretty good backup keepers there, but they tend to be backup keepers rather than starters. How about you take us through the defense?
Yeah, in central defense, I think Kalidou Koulibaly certain to start. There's a couple other players that that may join him there, but just trying to look at who else. Yeah, I'm not sure who would be the most likely to start with him. But then left backs, Salif Sane, most likely to start. And then if you just scroll down there on the right, there's two players who've both been involved, but Ibrahima Mbaye might be the starter there.
Yeah, I also have trouble, apart from Kalidou Koulibaly, picking out the starters, the definite starters. But we don't have anyone other than him as definite, so it'll probably be a selection from among the other players they have there. The one candidate we thought that was definite in the midfield, Abdu Diallo, turns out to be not on the squad by surprise. For defensive midfielders, we have Nampalys Mende and Pape Gaye, and an unexpected member in Mamadou Loum Ndiaye, although I imagine he'll just be on the bench. In the separate midfield, in the center midfield, they have a wealth of choice with Adrisa Gaye and Sekou Kouyaté. And I don't know if you see Pape Matarsar as a starter, Connor.
I don't think so. I mean, they tend to play with two kind of central or defensive midfielders, and given the experience and kind of the pedigree of Adrisa Gaye and Sekou Kouyaté, I'd expect those two to be the ones anchoring the midfield.
Yeah, they have 28 players, so that means well more than half of them are going to be on the bench. One guy we thought wasn't going to be on the bench was Crépin Diatta, but it turns out, was he not selected or just injured? Do you remember, Kiera?
I'm not sure the exact reason as to.
He was the one who suffered the cruciate.
Oh, yes. With the unknown return date. So
right.
So
okay.
I've heard it confirmed, but that must be the reason.
Yeah. Okay. Well, on the left wing, or at least coded as a left winger, Sadio Mane will definitely be a starter, and I'd imagine Keita Baldi would too. And making up a really strong attacking midfielder, Ismaila Sarr on the right wing.
Yeah, I expect those to be the three that play kind of in that 4-2-3-1 formation.
Right, and generally they've only had one forward, so it may be a bit competitive among the 4 forwards. What do you say, Connor?
It may be, but Famara Jeju seems to be the one who has been starting most regularly in 2021. I think he's a very good player, and I would probably expect to see him up front.
Yeah, he didn't seem to have that position down for a long time, but now seems to own it. Of course, forwards are subbed in a lot more, so it's very likely that we'll at least see some of the others coming on as a substitute. And that brings us to the end of this podcast. Anything to add, Connor?
No, nothing for me.
All right. How about you, Kiera?
Nope.
Well, thanks so much for your help there. And Connor, if you can maybe go over some of the podcast info to take us out.
Yeah, so you can find this podcast and all others about the African Cup on our website at soccerfiles.captivate.fm. You can also search Soccer Files Canada and find us that way. It's Soccer Files with a PH. And then our email address is soccerfiles@gmail.com. If you have any questions or comments, we'd love to hear your feedback.
Okay, great. And thanks once again, you guys. We will see you next time.
See you then.
Bye.